Our neighborhood was mostly black, but there were still more white people than I had ever seen. Sometimes I saw the white people eyeing my family curiously. As we strolled the aisles in Walmart, I could tell they were talking about us, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. We definitely looked different. I was thin and wore my hair cropped very short, practically shaved, per the style for the kids back home. I didn't see any girls in Rochester wearing their hair that way. My mom wore her traditional, vividly patterned African dresses. The houses on our streets were all very close together, but none of our neighbors came over and introduced themselves. No one knocked on our door. Mom was surprised by how lonely and isolated America felt. The neighbors didn't seem to know each other. People locked their doors. Everyone kept to themselves. Mom would look out the window and ask, "Where are all the people?" Back home on our sunny, friendly street in Ovira, we had people coming and going in our house all the time. People smiled and said hello when they passed you on the street. We never locked our doors. One day, our caseworker John took us to a church clothing drive to help us stock up on clothes, including much needed winter coats and boots. Princess had arrived at that point, and as we looked at the shelves of musty clothes, arranged by category shirts, jeans, shoes, we couldn't help but giggle. "Check out these pants," I said, pointing to a polyester pair that had not been popular for decades. They were universally unfashionable, not retro chic, just old, and they smelled old too. Adele laughed. "Those bell bottoms are so big. You could use them as mops." We spotted a long denim skirt, sending us into a new round of giggles. "The only place someone could wear that skirt would be at an ugly skirt convention," I said. I didn't want to appear rude, but as a preteen girl, I thought I wouldn't be caught dead wearing anything in here. Yes, we were refugees, but it didn't mean we had no fashion sense. Back home in Congo, our clothes were tailored and they fit beautifully. People in America seemed to assume that we were coming from an undeveloped land where we had no decent clothes. But we knew style, and we had seen plenty of American music videos. We knew what Americans were. I didn't want to get bullied out of school in Rochester for wearing a voluminous denim skirt. I was also astonished by the array of short shorts on offer at the clothing drive. The ladies who worked there pointed them out to me, encouraging me to pick them up. I had no interest in those shorts, and I could never wear them anyway. My dad would literally chop both of my legs off if he saw me wearing them. And the shoes, another bummer. Mainly, they were heavy winter boots for trudging through snow, as ugly as could be. I wondered how people could wear those things. I figured it must be necessary to keep your feet from freezing off. "Those shoes are like boats," Alex said. We chose some boots and coats out of necessity, and I also managed to take home 2 t-shirts and a pair of jeans. Not stylish, but wearable. John was surprised that we didn't take more items. He thought we would scoop up everything in sight. Another disconnect. I think people have this perception that because you're a refugee, you'll take anything you can get your hands on. To some extent, that's true. We were definitely in need, but we are all just people, and everyone wants to look good, especially 12-year-old girls. Girls are girls everywhere. John tried again later. He asked the women who worked there to find us super stylish things. "These girls are very trendy," he said. Actually, we weren't so fashionable. We were just regular girls, but we appreciated his efforts, and we tried to find some things, which remained a challenge. We noticed at both clothing drives that the clothes had a distinct smell, damp and moldy, like they had been stored for a long time in wet cardboard boxes. Sometimes the clothes smelled like a hospital, perhaps from being stored in mothballs. We began to wonder if this was how white people smelled. My first real interaction with white kids came when I met 2 little girls who lived next door. They quietly wandered over one day when I was kicking around a ball with Alex in our backyard. The girls were around 4 and 5 years old, and they wanted to play. Pretty soon, they were hanging out in our home all the time. They appeared to be lonely, curious. Their mom drank alcohol and smoked, and the kids smelled like smoke too. It didn't help our growing suspicions that white people didn't smell so good. As I got to know the girls, I remember thinking, wow, I'm playing with white kids. Their mom seemed worried that the girls wanted to spend so much time with us. Sometimes they would fall asleep in our house at night, but my mom welcomed their presence. She loved opening her home to others and having people around. To her, it was normal. My two young friends had mountains of toys in their house. Dolls, stuffed animals, and plastic cars and trucks were strewn across the living room, and the kids didn't seem interested in any of them. They had an assortment of Barbie dolls, which struck me as particularly bizarre toys. The dolls were stick thin, like the actresses on TV, unlike the people I saw in real life in Rochester. I thought it was weird that the Barbies wore makeup too. Actually, I thought it was strange that the dolls had faces at all. My soft cloth dolls back home in Africa had no faces. We used our imagination to dream up their facial features and personalities. The boobs on the Barbies were another matter. I thought they were so inappropriate. They actually made me uncomfortable. I wondered why kids would want to play with dolls that were so developed. The dolls seemed like they were made for adults, not kids. Children don't have gigantic boobs. Why did their dolls have them? After just a couple weeks in Rochester, I began another weird new adventure. Middle school in America. Chapter 16.
Sorry. Yep. I am done.
Excuse me, sir.
I'm going to take him for a walk.
Why?